Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to an introduction to the bass clarinet. I've been playing the clarinet and the saxophones for over 40 years, but I'm a beginner and a newcomer to the bass clarinet. The first thing I notice different about the bass clarinet is the design of the neck and the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece is by far wider than both the B-flat clarinet mouthpiece and also the B-flat tenor saxophone mouthpiece. They're different instruments, they're all pitched in B-flat. Both the tenor sax and the bass clarinet play an octave lower than they're written. They are both treble clef instruments. The B-flat clarinet sounds exactly as it's written, which is a tone below concert pitch. So all of these instruments are treble clef instruments, they're all transposing instruments, and they're all B-flat instruments. Now, as far as physically blowing the bass clarinet, the things that I'm finding different is the width and feel of the mouthpiece. You have to have quite a loose embouchure compared to the normal clarinet or the tenor sax to actually play the bass clarinet. Let me just show you. Now, by comparison to the tenor saxophone, it sounds like there's a wombat stuck up that neck. There's a lot of resistance on the bass clarinet when you play the bass clarinet with just the mouthpiece and the neck. The B-flat tenor sax, by comparison, is incredibly free blowing and much, much louder. You'll see I have a looser embouchure than the B-flat clarinet when I play. I'll have the tightest embouchure when I play the standard clarinet mouthpiece. Now, it's very powerful, very loud, very free blowing and very direct. When I pick up the bass clarinet, the biggest difference is it feels big in my mouth and it feels as if there's a lot more inherent resistance in the mouthpiece and the neck. That is, it's harder to get the air through the instrument. If we take a close look at the mouthpiece, the main difference is the width of the mouthpiece. It's a very big open chamber inside of the bass clarinet mouthpiece. It's a wide mouthpiece compared to the standard clarinet mouthpiece. So it also needs its own special reeds. A lot of players will just slam a tenor saxophone reed on the bass clarinet, but that's not a good idea. This instrument is expecting a particular designed reed, that is the design of a bass clarinet reed, to match the acoustics of the instrument. So I highly recommend you source a professional bass clarinet reed if you intend playing the bass clarinet. As far as the instrument itself goes, it's a long, heavy instrument. You can see here that the length of this clarinet, this bass clarinet, is very long. Just look at the black part of that instrument. So even without the neck screwed into it, you've got a very long tube there that has all of the same fingerings as the standard B-flat clarinet, but your finger spacing is a little bit wider, about the same feel as a tenor saxophone width on your fingers. Now, you can play the bass clarinet either with a neck strap or with what they call a stick. I prefer playing it with this stick, and this stick just sits on the ground, and you can adjust the stick up and down as to how high or low off the ground you want the bass clarinet. You can see it's a very long, I've got it about halfway through the available adjustment, and that's a good height for me when I put the bass clarinet on the ground. We have a detachable silver-plated brass bell that just screws on at the bottom, and that actually lets us play one note lower than the standard B-flat clarinet, and that is this hole down here on the bass clarinet. When it's closed, lets us produce the note E-flat. So one semitone extra on the low end of a standard B-flat bass clarinet than a conventional clarinet. Now, there are bass clarinets that are even longer than this one, and they let the range extend down to low C, so considerably lower than this clarinet, which is more or less the standard bass clarinet that goes to E-flat. But increasingly, certainly in the professional range of clarinets, bass clarinets, they are now more commonly seen being sold right down to the low C. And that just means the instrument is considerably longer and it has a lot of additional key work on it to let you play that low D flat and low C below the E flat. This particular clarinet is a Selmer USA. It's an entry-level bass clarinet. It's made out of the synthetic resin material, not wood. And it's also a single piece. What that means is anyone familiar with the clarinet will know that it is normally cut in two. There's an upper joint and a lower joint of the clarinet with a cork sort of stopper on it that holds the two parts together. This clarinet is a single piece, and many companies make single piece clarinets. Many of the professional clarinets are like a normal clarinet that have a upper joint and a lower joint. I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction to the bass clarinet. It's a beautiful low register instrument voice, a wonderful sounding instrument. If you're a clarinet player or a saxophone player and you're looking to add a new double to your arsenal of instruments, give the bass clarinet the respect it deserves and give yourself the time to develop the correct embouchure that's unique for the bass clarinet, and you'll have hours and hours of pleasure with this beautiful low register voice instrument. Bye for now.